Some major tech companies are working around the clock to help fight the spread of misinformation about the coronavirus online. Social media giants like Facebook and Twitter have rolled out new features to help dispel conspiracy theories and rumor and replace them with factual information. Twitter is even cracking down on some world leaders who've shared misleading posts on their accounts. CNET senior producer Dan Patterson is joining us from his home with more insight on this. So Dan, what sort of misinformation are we seeing that's being spread online right now?
Okay,
all right, we are in a brave new world here as
to get them. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get him shortly. I don't know, Vlad, what you've seen online, but I think sort of the latest thing that I've seen online is that 5G is responsible for the coronavirus. And I think kind of like a few weeks ago, maybe it was because there were so few cases popping up in Africa, I had started to hear that maybe, you know, black people can't get the virus. All of that, not true at all. But, you know, where there is a void in terms of information, individuals or people or organizations get creative at times.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, you're absolutely right. I have, you know me, we talk about this a lot, right? I'm not really on Facebook that much other than to post pictures of what I had for dinner or, you know, of a birthday party or something. And so I don't see a lot of the nonsense that people are sending around via email. And when it comes to Twitter, I follow really people that I trust and organizations, news organizations that I trust. So I haven't seen a lot of this misinformation, but I do know that it is out there. And I'm told that we have Dan Patterson back with us. So I'm going to ask Dan to take us through it. But I would hope that, Dan, when we talk about this, that we don't actually give out any details of the things that people are saying or tweeting or posting on Facebook that is incorrect, because obviously what's really terrible about this misinformation, Dan, is we've talked about this in the past. We've talked about it when it comes to election security. We've talked about it when it comes to, you know, fake news, but this has real implications in that we're talking about people's lives. People can die if they don't have the right and correct information, Dan.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Vlad. So misinformation and disinformation both rely on amplifiers. So it's one thing to have what we call misinformation. These are rumors or incorrect information. And as long as that's not amplified or able to reach a very large audience, the harm is also limited. So let me give you an example. There was a rumor spreading early in the coronavirus outbreak across Telegram. This is an instant messaging site or a direct messaging application that alleged smoking could help cure or prevent coronavirus. Totally false, but there was no, at least that we are aware of, actor pushing this information. So without an amplifier, without a larger figure or an influencer pushing this, the rumor could stay small. Unfortunately, it had amplifiers that drove it across Telegram. An example of disinformation would be the combination of, say, state media, along with diplomats or other representatives of a state, along with information warfare waged by inauthentic accounts on social media sites like Twitter and Facebook. These we have seen evidence of coming from China. So they're a little more nuanced. Disinformation is intentional. It's a little more nuanced, but just like misinformation, it requires amplifiers or influencers to raise that message. So again, we don't want to share specific links to or examples that are active or current right now, but we rely on researchers to give us examples that we can say, all right, this was stopped or this was discovered or found, like the Russian Telegram misinformation.
Yeah, Dan, I think the most sort of dangerous form of all of this stuff is the examples that sort of use a nugget of truth, but then kind of either go off into something that's not true or use that nugget of truth incorrectly. I would think that sort of stuff would be particularly hard for many of these companies to track down and get rid of because, hey, we talked about this before, there's free speech. So what are these tech companies doing?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, which is identifying and tracking this stuff because it uses opacity as a powerful tool. So there are third party organizations. The Atlantic Council is a think tank. They are one that has partnered with companies like Facebook, although they maintain editorial independence. And what they do is have security analysts, experts, and researchers dig through the social web and then tag and label, add to spreadsheets, really quantify misinformation or alleged misinformation. Then they go to social networks like Facebook, who have large piles of private data, and they say, do these two things coordinate? Do they line up? Are you able to see IP addresses or VPNs that could give you an indication of what they call a threat actor, the bad guys? So the social networks use a combination of what they call machine learning. This is artificial intelligence, really automated services that go through and look for spammy language and that kind of thing. And then they also use human curators to look through and find stuff that the machines miss. Now, these aren't perfect systems. The Atlantic Council and these third-party fact checkers are pretty good because they depend on humans who are experienced. Now, the tech companies are getting better and better all the time, but these machine learning systems aren't perfect, and there is a real human toll to people looking at the type of content that they want to ban or moderate. So these systems seem to be effective with tamping down some bad stuff, but it's not without cost.
You know, Dan, it's interesting that you point out how it's done and the mechanisms that are used to remove misinformation. So a couple of examples that have happened in recent days. Twitter deleted a post from Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, that quoted a conservative activist who had touted hydroxychloroquine, which is an anti-malarial drug, as a cure for the coronavirus. Twitter took that down. They deleted a tweet from The Federalist, which linked to an article that suggested the best way to approach the coronavirus was to spread it to as many young people as possible. Twitter took that down and locked the Federalist account, and also deleted a pair of tweets by the Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro, that cast doubt on the need for quarantines. On the other hand, for example, they left up a tweet by Elon Musk suggesting that children weren't susceptible to coronavirus. So you gave us a little insight into how they're doing it, but I guess what perhaps confuses people is who decides, well, the Giuliani tweet should come down, but the Musk tweet stays up?
Oh, that's such a challenging and nuanced question right now, Vlad. It's always hard for these companies to adjust to tactics that kind of stay one step ahead of the curve because they're one step ahead of the law. On the other hand, these tech firms all kind of feed off of each other, or at least are influenced by each other. So Facebook may see how YouTube is moderating content and make adjustments to not just their machine learning systems, but their policies. Look, there are no simple answers. There are no good answers. These are open systems that are ripe for exploitation by bad actors, and that's exactly what's happening. This is a perpetual game of whack-a-mole, and the policies will change just as the tactics designed to exploit the systems change.
Hey, Dan, you're working on a short documentary with the CNET crew there. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, CNET has been great, and we really wanted to kind of get, because CNET does tech, to the bottom of how disinformation works. So there's all year a series called Debunked. We spent, along with some great video producers and reporters, some time with the Atlantic Council in Washington, D.C. to really understand the fine particulars of how they research data. And we found that these were not so much technical systems, which we expected to see, but really leaned on these experts who knew how to look for systems and information warfare campaigns coming from regions and coming from countries. It really requires cultural, political, diplomatic knowledge all wrapped up into one. So this is a profile. It's, again, one in a long series, but it's a story and a video profile of the people who really find and hunt down disinformation campaigns.
I encourage everyone to watch this. You know, we can talk about what the tech companies are doing, what the government should do, but really, if you want to stop this stuff, it's really up to individuals to learn what it is, learn how to identify it, and don't forward it to your family and friends. Don't like it. It's garbage. Dan, it's great talking to you. Thank you so much.
You too.